We is correct. Welcome to the world of Q&A, sir. It is another year, another Thursday, another show, and all of the hype. Thanks, Isla. That's great. Me too. So, what are we talking about to kick off the new year? Feeling sick. I have no cure for that right now, but we can talk about games and stuff. That's what I'm here for. One person has already hit like. Thank you for your support, whoever that was. Anybody else joining late, watching after the fact, smash the like button because I promise it's going to be really good. Is that true? Yeah, it is. Let's do the usual sponsorship section. Right after I say, I hope you all had a brilliant break, a brilliant New Year, brilliant Christmas, whatever you celebrate. Hope you had a wonderful time. If you received any gaming gifts or gaming adjacent Mario socks or nonsense like that, please do tell me and we can, I don't know what we can do with that information. It kind of depends what the gift is. Maybe it'll be funny, maybe it'll be cute. We'll talk about it. But first, a word from our sponsor. Our sponsor's Game On Daily. I'm not going to bring it up on screen today because I didn't prepare it. Oh, I should. Don't be so lazy, me. Don't be so lazy. Game On Daily aren't lazy, so why would I be when I am indeed a part of Game On Daily? So, here's what you need to know. It's a website, it's a platform, it's brilliant. It's a YouTube channel as well, but the platform is the bit that sponsors this little show, the bit that I want to push. It's a news aggregation and social platform where you can find all the latest news and gaming content, your guides, your reviews, your news, your previews, all of the things that you like, together from different creators all across the world. So maybe you'll find your favorites, maybe you'll find a little community there. Please do check it out. Thank you, sponsor. Yeah, so Isla, if you are able to, could you set up the handy Q&A feature? So YouTube, we discovered last week, has a nice formal Q&A feature, and the way that I want to run the show, you can, yeah, that's fine, it's not a big hurry. The way that I want to run the show now is, as we always have done, chat is very open, discussion is very open. Anybody that wants to talk about what's going on will address those as we go. But if you want to drop a question into the nice formal Q&A box, I will, at the close of the show, run through those one by one and answer everything that goes into that box. So as soon as it's available, it's there. You can hit questions in it. I will not respond immediately to those ones. I will catch them at the end of the show, because that gives us a little bit of structure, right? We can carry things through from there. So let's start like we always do. I don't think there's really many people here yet, so I'm assuming it's either a bank holiday or some kind of apocalypse across most of the world, but it's a good plan, isn't it? Thank you. I just came up with it now. You're right in my voice. That's an unusual thing. I wouldn't recommend it. I kind of hate my voice, but there we go. You can write in whichever voice you choose. So, Christmas. No, that's not the topic. What have we been playing? What have I been playing? What have you been playing? My list of games is pretty short, and it's mostly been trials and tribulations and troubleshooting. But Wayne, welcome along. Welcome. What have you been playing, Wayne? Did you get Mario socks? I have been playing, I'm still on God of War Ragnarok, but I'm right at the thrilling, dramatic kind of conclusion to the game. Or I guess you could say the conclusion to, at the very least, the two games, but possibly all of the God of War games. Like, it's proper climactic section of the game. And then I had to go to bed, so I had to say, hold up, massive dramatic events that are unfolding in front of me. I need to pause you. Wayne got Lawnmower Simulator VR. No, you did not. Such a thing does not exist yet. But I will try it if it ever does. So much like I just paused my train of thought then, I had to pause the dramatic events at the conclusion of God of War Ragnarok. Sensibly go to bed like a grown-up. To be resumed, hopefully concluded tomorrow, I would think. That's my plan. I'm going to get to the end of it, and I'm going to come away with fond memories. So I've been saying week on week, every time we come here, that God of War has been a mixed bag for me, because it starts brilliantly, and then it has these significant sections that drag. And I always said, I'm not sure what my kind of lasting impression will be when I've finished it. So it's going to pick up for sure. But am I going to come away from it remembering the times it dragged, or like with really fond memories of the way that it builds up? Tony, about time you showed up to one of these. I expect good back and forth conversation for it's cool. I'm glad that you were here. Please do smash the like button for me. That helps an awful lot. And yeah, so Isla's almost got the background already. It is indeed a Half-Life game. I do need specifics on which Half-Life game is behind me, but there aren't that many to choose from, so you're pretty much there on that. Yeah, and my feelings on God of War at the moment is it has definitely picked up. I'm really enjoying the section of the game that I'm on now, towards the conclusion of it. And my takeaway from it, I think I'm far enough through that I can say fairly confidently, is that I don't forgive the bits that dragged as such. They haven't slipped from memory and been replaced by the good bits. So at the end of the game, I'm going to find that it was one that was still entirely worth playing. And my lasting takeaway from it is that I really hope that games of this kind of scope and style and magnitude are still part of the future. So whenever we talk about what's possible, what kind of games are fit for the Game Pass model and all the rest of it, and how the industry is changing and what direction it's going, whether we're going to chase microtransactions and all the rest of it, God of War is still an ambitious, well-scoped experience that I hope we keep getting for years to come, and we probably will. YouTube is such a dick. Oh no, you made me say it out loud. I'm going to get demonetized. My channel's going to get removed. They're not going to push it anywhere. I'm never going to get a single new subscriber. My target of 4 billion has just gone down the toilet because I read the wrong message out loud. But now that we've done it, we might as well, speak plain. YouTube is such a dick. No, I'm not going to say that. I nearly started calling out people that have been dickheads around Twitter and stuff, and I shouldn't. That's a mistake. Breathe and move on. So that's God of War. Do play it if you have an opportunity to. If you have a PlayStation 4 or 5 and you haven't played that one yet, if you like remotely close to that style of game, it's so good despite its flaws. But Elden Ring was definitely Game of the Year over that. So I've also been playing Fix the VR and Blade and Sorcery to do so. If you've followed my streaming since I got the Quest Pro, I've had all manner of difficulties with the tracking of the hands, in that I'd be playing and it would be great for 5 minutes or so, and then suddenly I'd lose tracking on a hand and it would just be stuck to the floor, making it impossible for me to shoot straight, interact with anything in the world, even read chat and stuff. Tony, what the fuck is up with these prices on graphics cards and processors? They're not going down at all. No, they're really not. It's been if you consider market position of the different cards that are available, it's been on an upward trend for the last decade or so. But not a small one, not like an in line with inflation upwards trend, but you've got inflation here and no, I'm mirrored. That makes more sense. You've got inflation here, GPU prices up here somewhere. It has to stop at some point because nobody's going to be able to get the things, but yeah. When you've got a 3080 Founders Edition at RRP, I kind of liked the look of the Founders Editions, but they were quite hard to get to get hold of. They dropped in price for a few weeks. People thought the prices might come down when mining kind of stopped, when cryptocurrencies became less dependent on GPUs, that might fix things, but it has not, because greed runs rampant. So yeah, things are still really expensive. The reflections in the background, my screen space reflections, thank you for noticing. I put in too much effort into these things for no reason. Now I will not do any more Futurama references just for a moment. Manual, I did them, thank you. Yeah, and actually this is B tier reflections. I had them looking quite nice, and then Premiere said it was going to take 60 hours to render, so the distortion effects that I had were quite expensive, but still, it's there. It's better than nothing, right? Keeps things alive. I like the background to be a little bit alive. So anyway, Quest Pro, another expensive bit of hardware, which I've been having all sorts of trouble with, and I got quite determined to fix it. So I've been experimenting, tweaking and fixing things, and I finally have the Quest Pro tracking perfectly on all the games that I want to play. I haven't streamed it yet because getting this tracking working required fairly significant changes in the way that I do it, which I won't go massively into it. Boomer Ben's screen space reflection is more evident the more you pee on the floor, and I peed on my monitor, but it didn't really translate across, so I had to do it through Premiere Pro trickery instead. If you'd like to see more reflections of the scene, you can see this whole show reflected if you pee on your own floor. Tony, Ryzen 3D cards are going to take over Intel. You mean the are going to take over Intel? What do you mean, Tony? Oh, the 3D suffix on some of the processors, not GPUs. You're talking about the suffix. I get you. You have carpet. Sorry, Isla. You have to clean that up then. So, I changed some things. I got my Quest Pro working perfectly. Next time I play Resident Evil 7 on a stream, my hands will be exactly where they're supposed to be. My shooting will be at least 6% better than it was when my hand was dragging on the floor. And it came alongside, because I changed the way that the headset's getting things, the way that I can capture it for the streaming and recording sake, I had to overhaul an awful lot of stuff to get it all working. But I have got it all working, and I've been testing it just yesterday with some Blade and Sorcery, which, if you've watched any of my streams and little videos and things, you'll be familiar with. It's just it's physics-based chaos with blood and guts and hilarity. So I played that for a good half an hour, which doesn't sound like a lot, but half an hour with 0 tracking issues and a lot of funny chaos. So I do plan to test the new video format and make a little bit of content out of what I recorded there. So stay tuned to the channel and the Twitter, and you'll see a little bit of what I was doing on Blade and Sorcery, because it's so brilliant. Tony, Quest Pro better enjoy its dominance. The PlayStation VR 2 is going to take over. The Quest Pro is not dominant in any sense of the word, because it's really, really expensive. So it's not. The Quest 2 is dominant at the moment, and up to this point, and even after the PlayStation comes out, the Quest 2 is like the probably recommended entry point to VR for people that are just looking to sample it and see if it makes them sick or not, see what they can get out of it. The PlayStation VR 2 is my recommendation for anyone that's got a PlayStation 5. It's a massive tier up, massive step up in what you can play over the Quest. But you need a PlayStation 5, or it becomes very expensive as well. I will do a proper video going into the Quest Pro now that I've actually got mine working in the way that it's supposed to. I will detail what it is good for, what it is not good for, who should be considering it, and what the quirks are. PlayStation VR 2 will be the entry point for most of the masses. I don't know, like needing a PlayStation 5 does limit it quite a bit. Being more expensive than the PlayStation 5 reduces things still further. But if you wear glasses, avoid VR. I don't think that's necessarily true anymore, Tony. I haven't tried. I don't wear glasses, so it's hard to give first-hand experience. But I think the Quest Pro has lenses that you can move closer and further away from your eyes, which I think makes it pretty well suited for glasses. Not as good, because having the lenses closer does help with field of view and things like that. The PlayStation VR 2, Sony's first headset, was supposed to be reasonable with glasses. I'm sure the second one will be well considered, but the ideal, if you are a glasses or contacts person, the most VR headsets get reasonably cheap replacement lenses. So hopefully, if those are good, and again, I can't speak firsthand on it because I don't wear them, but if those are good, then those would be a very convenient way to wear any headset that you like. Might be a bit complicated now that lenses are becoming all pancakey and advanced. But watch, they will sell out. Wait. Most paid overpriced PlayStation 5. You highly doubt they won't jump on the PSVR 2. Yeah, it's not going to sell 30 million, Tony. So the PlayStation 5 has 30 million out there. PlayStation VR 2 will probably never get that. It definitely won't get that quickly. But it will sell out, yeah. People will jump on it. It is the latest, newest toy, and it will get a lot of positive media buzz in the run up to it actually coming out. But not even the wild, obnoxious Xbox fans can drown out been on Twitter. It's my favourite topic to ignore. Staunch Xbox fans, so not people that like Xbox, but the really, you know, the type, the staunch ones, giving their opinions on virtual reality. That's interesting to hear. Thank you. No, no, that's a thing that I quite happily ignore. Sometimes it's tempting to reply, like, "What are you talking about, you obnoxious bag of dicks?" But I decided no, I'm above that. I'm just going to not reply. I'm going to unfollow, mute, do what I need to do, move on with the positivity in gaming, right? Speaking of, nobody's told me what you're playing yet. So while you think about it and give me a little something to work with, tell me what you've been playing. I'm going to tell you what I'm doing next, because God of War is going to be finished hopefully tomorrow. My plan, I should have thought about this. I'm obviously going to carry on with a lot of virtual reality, so I'm going to try and get through Resident Evil 7 VR, which is difficult for me. Loyal and committed attitude, exactly, Tony. Staunch, you can use it. It is a good word. And I'm glad that that your dictionary definition matches what I was going for, because there are some words that are not so well used, and you kind of think you know what it means, or at least I do. I do this quite often. Say something ridiculous, and then after I'll be like, that word doesn't mean what you think it means, and I'm just distraught for a few days. Or that word's not said like you think it's said. That's the other one. She doesn't say it like that. It's a terrible impression. But Wayne thrives in the wars. No, he does not. He's a gentleman. Thrives on Lawnmower Simulator and Power Wash Simulator and spaceships. So my plans, as I say, while you're thinking about what you've been playing, I'm going to play Resident Evil 7. And my problem with Resident Evil 7 isn't so much the scares. It is terrifying in virtual reality. And you've probably seen me playing it. Like the last time I came off of it, I was just crying and running to the safe room. So, Puma Bend, you'd like to see most fanboys commit? Yeah. Yes, indeed. They could use it. Finished Superliminal. Was it good, Tony? I'm going to get through Resident Evil 7. I find the scares are terrifying. They are genuinely like, this is horrible. I don't know if I want to peek my head around this corner. I don't know if I want to move, because I know that I'm about to get attacked. That all works very well. What I've never liked about Resident Evil is the format of puzzles. So puzzle games in general, they're a difficult thing for any developer to get right, because as a player, you want to be able, you don't want to get stuck. You want to be able to finish a puzzle, and you probably want to come away feeling pretty smart about it. But designing them, Resident Evil's puzzles are not puzzles. They don't make any logical sense. Like, why have I moved a pendulum from one clock to another and it's opened a secret compartment in the wall? The fuck is that all about? How does that make any sense in any universe? Why are all of these doors and statues and mosaics having pieces missing, and why does replacing those pieces open holes in the wall? This is just like a weird house. I don't like that kind of puzzles. And Resident Evil has always been like that, since the first one through to the last, so it's never going to go away. But that is the reason that I'm not entirely sure if I'll be able to finish 7 or not, because I will get mad frustrated at the puzzles if they don't entirely go my way by coincidence. Still, I'm going to give it a go and get a bit further. I'm also going to play, when I finish God of War Ragnarok, so in Pancake Land, I need to go back to Horizon Forbidden West. I really want to play Deerfield Chronicles and Tales of Arise, but I think I'm going to try and slot Signalis in there if anyone's played that. It's a Game Pass effort, so it's on PC and Xbox. I think it's like a really small 2-person team kind of thing, but it's been recommended here and it's been recommended by other people, so I want to play that, because I think that'll be a nice short burst of get something done and hopefully take some joy from it. So those are all of my plans. Tony, you've been on Judgment for 6 years and loving it. All right, are you loving it? Should I try it? Judgment's gone on to PlayStation Plus in the last month or two, so I can give it a go for free, right? The little window in the background is pretty small. It is. So last week I had the High on Life living room, and nobody knows this. This is exclusive behind the scenes information for you. The High on Life living room has a big TV set. The big TV set is not quite as big as I had it in my background last week. I made it bigger for the sake of showcasing the video content a little bit more. Today, I didn't really want to do that. I didn't expect to be doing the sticking any of my videos in the background thing again anyway, but I wanted to do Half-Life. I thought, Half-Life, I'm going to find a background as quickly as possible. So if you played, I'm not going to say which one it is because nobody's actually got the answer yet, but if you played this particular Half-Life game, then you'll know that this is very, very early on. This background that I've got today is from right at the start, and that's me saving time. But it had this little screen, and it happens to be portrait format. So I thought, you know what? I can use this scene. I can stick some YouTube shorts on it and call it a day. So I then proceeded to download all my YouTube shorts, stick them in the background, and then I thought, you know, it's a bit static. There's a cable kind of swaying back and forth a tiny bit to the left, but really it needs some ray tracing or some screen space reflection. So I pissed about doing that and just wasted way too much time. These shows take hours to set up. I shouldn't. But here we are. We do it, right? Carry on, and it's all good fun. So I've still got the energy to do it for a little while yet, hopefully. Tony, you haven't played any Half-Life. Your brother keeps asking you to play and you say no. Why do you say no? Why do you say no? Half-Life's like one of those legendary ones that you have to experience. I say this having not played Half-Life 1. I'm such a fraud. Gigantic phony. Everyone call me out for it. I haven't played the first Half-Life. I've played Half-Life 2. I played the chapters, DLC expansions, whatever they called it back in those days. I played chapter 1 and chapter 2 of it. I haven't finished Half-Life Alyx, but I'm definitely going to. I don't like where that's going, Tony. I don't entirely know what that means, so I'm just not going to answer. But I am a naive flower. So what else? You must have been playing more. Tony's been playing Judgment, and he's just finished Superliminal. What have you been playing, Kratos? You've got to have been playing loads of stuff. Oh, I'm so close to the end of God of War. I want to play that. There's no ending, so it puts you off. Oh, so you're not playing Half-Life because of the Half-Life 3 memes. Your dad gets the points this week. I didn't even need the part 1. I would have just accepted Half-Life 2. It is right in the intro of Half-Life 2. So you got that. Well done. Well done, your dad. Make sure he gets a YouTube account and hits the like button as well. What's that Marvel thing? Is that? No, what's MCOC? Call of Duty and Battle Island. I can't do Call of Duty. It's funny seeing Call of Duty battered around as a significant IP in the whole acquisition thing, and I just don't care about Call of Duty. I don't understand how those games are so popular. I kind of do understand, but it's not for me. Can't recognize people in camouflage. Marvel Contest of Champions. I have heard of it. Haven't touched it, but I have heard of it. So it's good, is it? Or are you just playing it because you don't have access to your screen at a certain point in time? Or you're out and about, so you play a bit on the phone? Have you played the Marvel Snap one? That seemed to be popular for a little while at the end of last year. Magical Cats on Cats is something else. He has a YouTube, remember? Cars. I do not remember, but I believe you. So we're going to some topics. So we'll keep things moving. As mentioned at the start, so I know some of you weren't here at the start, there is a YouTube official, whatever it is, formal Q and answer. Why would I do that? Why can I not talk the good? Q&A, question and answer bar. You can enter questions in there for A nice formal place to store them. I will get to those questions in a segment at the end of the show. That's a promise. We'll go through all of them. I'm not promising direct answers to all of them, but we'll look at every question that comes in there. But we will also carry on conversationally like we are. So anything that you just want to throw into chat, throw it into chat, and we'll get them and have a nice flowing conversation, nice formal questions at the end. So you've got all of those options. You can do everything right after you've hit the like button. Patrick, welcome. Good to see you. Tell me what you've been playing. Tell me if you got any gaming related gifts. Mario socks. I keep going to Mario socks because I'm not creative and I can't think of a second or third kind of silly option for a present. But you get me. Just tell me what's going on. Tell me what you got. Tell me what you're doing. Tell me what you're playing. Tell me what's fun. And I'm going to start talking about some games that are coming out next year. I got a little list that I scraped from the edge of my earlobe. Like, I really didn't put much thought into this, but a little list of things that I've been looking forward to. You made your parents comment on my video about Hot Wheels or Forza. Yes, much appreciated. It was a good video. Alan Artist, that's a name I haven't seen around here before. 144p is the best way to view my face. So if you've set a higher resolution, go back to where you were. It's more pleasant that way. But welcome. We have a nice little conversation here. So if you've got any games that you're playing you want to talk about, throw them in the chat and we'll get to those as well. Patrick, your wife got you a new controller, a new chair, and your son got you an Xbox gift card. That's very Xbox focused. Please tell me what chair you've got. I hate my chair. I've been sitting on this one for, to be fair, I've been sitting on it for like 4 hours trying to set up this background and stuff. But my ass hurts. So tell me what chair you've got. Tell me if it's brilliant. I had, I visited a friend just last week who had one of the Secret Labs Titan chairs, which are the ones that get all the positive reviews and influencer approval. And as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, I'm going to sit on that for a second to see if these chairs are worth the exuberant price. So I stuck my ass on it and went, what the hell? This is a horrible, horrible chair. I'm sorry if you've got, Patrick, if you're going to say I got a Titan, whatever it is, XL chair, then I hope you like it more than I did. But I was very disappointed. Tony, I believe that's the chair that you went for, isn't it? And I think you told me that it wasn't worth the list price. So, confirmed. Your Star Trek Cup from 1986. That's impressive, right? If I were to make, like, if I had access to a time machine, I probably wouldn't be going back to get a Star Trek Cup. I'm not on top chat, I'm just not very good. I'm trying my best, but thank you for the reminder. It's not a gaming chair, it's a Serta office chair. It's nice, it's just black leather. Tell me, Patrick, see, I'm sure nobody is here for chair chat, but I want to know anyway. Does it have like adjustable arms? Is it suitable as a keyboard and mouse kind of chair? Because I don't like, usually gaming anything just means you pay a horrible premium for a standard product. So I'm not after a gaming chair, but I'm after a comfortable chair that I can use. Yeah, Secret Labs Titan, that's the one you got, Tony. That's the one that I struggled with. Well, I didn't. I sat on it for like a minute, but... Did I see that you guessed Half-Life right at the start? Isla, I've acknowledged like 6 times in the stream so far that you'd already said Half-Life right at the start, but that we just needed the number. I even went into depth about how few Half-Life games there were and how quickly you would guess it from that point. So yes, I did see that right at the start. You get half the points and your dad gets half the points. You weren't listening. Oh, my heart. Whoa, you were the most excited person. I'm assuming you were the person that hit like before we even started. You weren't even listening. That's okay. That's okay. The arms and the chair itself raise and lower. She got it for when you're working on your desk at home. Well, I'm a big fan of a good chair, particularly if you work at home a lot. You need a good chair or you have a sore ass like I have. Uncomfortable. You know when you think you're listening and then you realise you missed it? It happens. I do the same thing, Isla, but I think I'm talking and I think I know what I've said and I think I know what I'm talking about, and then my brain catches up and goes, wait, what? None of this makes sense. Why am I doing this? And that's why this show's so fun. Because, right, it's fun? Yeah, it's fun. Gaming related Christmas present. You got £40 off your son that you used to pay for some indie games. Elaborate. That's what we're here for, Wayne. What indie games did you get for your £40? Have you played any? Are they brilliant? This basement looks like the dungeon Patrick has. What basement? This isn't a basement. You mean the room that I'm in? It's not a basement. It's like a holding cell of some kind. An interrogation room. You're too close to sea level for a basement. Fair. Mushroom Saviour for £2, and then you pocketed the other 38 for spending later. I've never heard of Mushroom Saviour, I must say. I'm gonna bring that up though if I can find it. So I've got a trailer for Hades 2 ready to play, but we don't need Hades 2. We need YouTube. Everybody needs to know what Mushroom Saviour is because nobody has played it, I don't think. Oh no, my typing is broken. Not literally, I suck. So there's achievement guides for it. Lots of achievement guides for it. It's spelt the American way, I should have known. Mushroom Saviour final trailer. Hold on to your butts, here it comes. I need to rescue my fellow mushrooms. Oh no, Wayne, what possessed you? Sorry, developers of Mushroom Saviour. Solve the puzzles. This one is not for me. It is not for me. But it's nice of you to support it. I want you to report on when you finished Mushroom Saviour, Wayne. Oh, you bought it for the achievement points. Oh. Achievement points officially confirmed evil and manipulative. What's your gamer score, Wayne? Everybody, what's your gamer score or PlayStation level or Steam level or wherever you play? Do you seek the points? Do you have a good score? Patrick, you've been playing Anthem the past couple of days. I wish Anthem was like, I wish they did do the reboot and do the version 2 of it. It's so stylish. It is stylish. Sauron Grunt, you started playing Gotham Knights after finishing Life is Strange True Colors. So I've played about 10 minutes of Life is Strange True Colors. It took me 6 hours to play 10 minutes because I was doing it to find a recording for a background like this. I didn't end up using it. Too many interactive prompts and things getting in the way of a nice clean recording. But I really liked Life is Strange, like the first Life is Strange. I never played Before the Storm, and I never played the one with the kid. And True Colors, from what I saw of that opening 10 minutes, I didn't really fancy it, so I haven't gone back to it. But it does have it has a Twitch mode to let the audience join in and participate. But who uses Twitch? Not me. Tony's gamer score is God mode. Wayne has 386,000 gamer score, despite spending 3 decades playing EVE Online exclusively. So, am I? Oh, Isla, you're going to have to watch it back with your ears open. No, I'm not going to play True Colors anytime soon. I have it. I was prepped to play it. I launched it and had a look at it to try and record a background, but didn't like the start of it, so I'm not going to go back to it very soon. Gotham Knights, Sauron Grunt, I want to know what you think of Gotham Knights. From those opening moments, if you've... Yeah, you said you started playing it. So I want to know what you think of it, because I don't get along with Gotham Knights at all. As you may already know. You couldn't hear over the sound of your thoughts and the OST that no one's identified yet. Quite a distinct OST. From a game that I like. There are no words, so you cannot Google cheat. Ha. I played Spooky Twins. I did play Spooky Twins, yeah. I did. You sent a kit. You got... Look. This cheating will not be tolerated. I'm just not going to have OSTs if you keep on using Google and friends and external sources to get the answers. If Keir wants to play, Keir has to watch the show and play for himself. Patrick's come real close to buying Gotham Knights since it's only $35 right now. You keep talking yourself out of it. I suggest keep talking yourself out of it, to be honest. Sauron Grant, though. might have a different opinion. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you think of Gotham Knights, because it's a recent game. It's a fairly big game. It didn't do great in reviews, but quite a few people do enjoy it. It seems okay. You doubt you'll ever finish it, though. I had myriad problems with Gotham Knights, and it's one of the problems was performance on the PC side of it, so it could be this one that I revisit at some point and see if they've fixed some of the other issues with it along the way, because I would like it to be good, but it wasn't yet. It's also it has to be co-op, right? That's the one redeeming feature. If I can find anyone to play it with, maybe it's just a lot more fun to play with someone else, like all games are. Almost, not all games, but you know what I mean. Games that are intended for it and built for it should always be played in that way if possible. Such as Redfall. Let's talk about Redfall. Who's looking forward to Redfall? That's a game coming out next year. That's a game that you can play on your own, or you can play it co-op with up to 3 other players. So 4-player co-op. So Redfall. Who's looking forward to it? I still don't know what I think of it. This year. Tony, you don't have a VR headset. You're absolutely right that the game would be better if it supported VR. If it was entirely playable in VR, it would be a better gamer. It would be a better game. That's... of course it would. Everything is. But who's actually moderately hyped for it? Let's go for the gameplay reveal, because this is the bit that matters. Redfall gameplay. I like the art style and environments. It's got that kind of... It's not realistic. It's not heavily cartoonified, but it's not real, and it'll probably... That means that everything that you're looking at will still look good in like a decade's time. The art style, I really do think is going to hold up for a long time. But the gameplay... I am yet to be convinced. Because there just seems to be so little going on at all times. And it's okay for the pacing to be different to like Left 4 Dead, Back 4 Blood, the other kind of co-op games that have swamped Game Pass in the last year or so. But I don't know, if there's 4 of you and there's only like 1 or 2 enemies in each scene, I'm not sure how the pacing and feel is going to hold up. Especially not if I'm expected to play with stealth. I do not stealth. The table is in front of the video. Of course it is. The table is in front of me. I could obviously have shifted things and changed that around. But yeah, sometimes things overlap the video for the sake of your immersion, to make all of this seem real, right? I could go like... I don't know. Maybe I should have cut the screen space reflections when I put the video up. No, this is fine. It's good. I like it. You think it's going to be laid out like Borderlands? I've not played Borderlands for a long time. I didn't play the 3rd one. I think I do have it. I think I got it for free with a processor or something like that at some point. But I didn't get anywhere with it. I played Borderlands 2 quite a lot. I never really played 1. Monster Hunter Rise. Hopefully you can play it solo. You don't need to, Tony. You'll play Monster Hunter Rise with me. Yeah, I really don't know about Redfall. Like, I hope it's good. I always hope every game's good, because then we all win, right? I'm just not quite sure. Definitely, I mean, it's on Game Pass. Why not try it? So of course I'll try it. I just don't want it to be a stealth game. Oh, but it looks nice. It's well lit. It's well designed. It's got a good art style. Rock and Roll Forever. Monster Hunter Rise. Seems games with Fall in the title don't fare well. Fall Guys being an exception. What's weird about that exception is Fall Guys was freaking terrible. I hated Fall Guys. Really didn't like Fall Guys. It's like Roblox mini games brought to a different audience, and they should have stayed in Roblox where they belong. Which isn't to say I don't think anything in Roblox is actually original, but you know, Monster Hunter Rise is... Wait. It's a new game to you. You never heard of it until everyone went on about it. So Monster Hunter Rise... Let's move on from Redfall and we'll bring up some Monster Hunter Rise. Monster Hunter Rise came out on the Switch and PC like a year ago, where it remained exclusive for a while, but it is now coming to PlayStation and Xbox, and that includes Xbox Game Pass. So it was already on PC, but now it's going to be free on PC as well. Who played Monster Hunter World? Who liked Monster Hunter World, and who's looking forwards to Monster Hunter Rise? Obviously not enough to buy it on the Switch or buy it on the PC, but now that you get that nice free access included with your subscription, changes things a bit, huh? The Monster Hunter World, I really wanted to like it when I played it. I wanted it to be to capture the Fantasy Star Online co-op monster hunting nostalgia that I have, because I really liked Fantasy Star Online, and I wanted that kind of adventure. But I played Monster Hunter World and found it to be quite clunky, more so than I expected. Fantasy Star Online was clunky, but it had technical reasons for being clunky. This one, I expected smoother combat, and I found it really jarring that when you had one of the ranged classes, so if you went for a gun or a bow or anything like that, the range of fire seemed to be about 6 meters. Like you'd shoot your gun and it just like bullets would just disappear in midair in front of you. So that was just strange to me, and I found it clunky. The dodging and all of that was just, it wasn't smooth like I'm used to. I have since played Monster Hunter World, kind of forced myself to adapt to Demon Souls and Elden Ring. So I wonder if I go back to Monster Hunter, if I find the combat more palatable and I might enjoy it more. You feel like the music has Doom vibes, and Keir said the same thing unprompted. Well, it's not Doom. That's all I can tell you. I can't give you too many hints yet. As the show goes on, if no one gets it, maybe I'll give you a few subtle hints. If it is Doom, is this episode themed on stuff your dad's like? No, it is not Doom. Monster Hunter is like Souls games. It takes a little getting used to. But is it like Souls games in that if you, like literally, if you're used to Souls games, then Monster Hunter will feel more normal? Or is it just like it in terms of having a similar learning curve? Tony has cut that one straight off. No need for clues. The OST today is Metal Hellsinger, which is one of the games that I liked that came out last year. When you actually play Metal Hellsinger, let's bring up a little trailer while I just briefly go over that one. Metal... I haven't played all that much of it. I don't need to. I will finish it eventually because I do like it. The way that Metal Hellsinger works while you play it is it is quite Doom-like in its base mechanics, except it has its core mechanic is that you have to play to a rhythm. So all of the weapons and things are already like times to a rhythm, but you have to shoot on a beat, you have to reload on a beat, you have to dodge on a beat. You can see on the screen you've got a visual indicator of that beat, but if you try and follow the visual indicator, you're just going to die. Like, it's too hard to focus on the reticule and those beats. You have to do it by ear, you have to listen, and you have to play on cue on the beat. And if you do it successfully, if you follow the beat without missteps, then you build up a little meter, and when it gets to certain thresholds, it layers on more of the music track. So the OST that we've got at the moment is from Metal Hellsinger, but it's an instrumental version. There's no vocals. The vocals are like metal, death metal growling, and I didn't really want that in the background because it's a bit much. But in the game, you don't get the vocals until you hit the highest threshold of like score meter. So when you've been playing to the rhythm and doing well and feeling good, the music layers up, and the final bit that comes in is the vocals. And so long as you keep up your good performance, then you keep up the vocals. But I just find it a game that I can just play and feel better. I don't know why. It's a magic trick that it has. I guess you get so focused in listening as well as taking in what you're looking at, so focused on concentrating on the beat of that music that all my problems just temporarily melt away. So Metal Hellsinger is a good game from last year, in my opinion. It's the Dancy Gun one. Yes, it is. Space Denizen, that's another new name around here. Welcome. This is quite conversational, so if you feel like having a chat, tell us what you're playing, join in with any of the topics, and we will gladly back and forth on it. We also have the YouTube Q&A thing, so if there are any questions that you want to make sure get addressed, pop them in there. We'll be looking at all of those at the end. And yes, Patrick, you're absolutely right. It's a flow state game. You get in the zone, so please give me other examples while we're on it. What other games are flow state games where you really just get in the zone? I'm going to say Beat Saber is going to be one if you're into the VR space. That's probably why that game is so popular, because it's fairly simplistic otherwise. But you can get properly into it and forget everything else for a while. Bop it. Get the fuck out. Bop it. Video games. We're talking about video games. What other video games are flow state games? I'm glad you like Bop It. You live Game on Daily and VR. You played Risk of Rain VR 2, Risk of Rain 2 VR mod last. I've had an eye on that one. I want to give that one a go. Tell me, is it a motion control affair? Do you have guns in your hands, or is it one of those partial conversion mods where you're still supposed to like aim with your eyes and use a controller and whatever? Because Risk of Rain 2 is a roguelike that was supposed to be very good. Pancake, let's bring up a Risk of Rain trailer while we're on it. Risk of Rain 2 is a pancake roguelike that was supposed to be very good. It's quite an action heavy one, and it very early on got a quite thorough VR mod, I think. So it's been on my to-do list for a long time. Oh, Risk of Rain trailer, stupid videos. There's so many videos about Risk of Rain, which is evidence that it is a popular and good game, I suppose. Do the console launch cinematic, that'll do. It's a perfect mod with motion controls. And how long does a run take? Because it's a roguelike, isn't it? So how long does it take to run out into the world and die? Oh, I'm gonna have to get this soon. I'm glad that you come along, Space Denizen. I'm glad you've put this one back on my radar, because you've said enough now. Just saying it's a good mod is enough that I must get this. I must play it. Is it co-op? Is the VR mod a multiplayer roguelike? Anyway, Risk of Rain. Living Game on Daily is dangerous, yes. Not because of me. You forgot about this. Well, Tony, it's still there. You can still go and play it in pancake mode anytime you want. But pretty much every game in the universe is better in VR. Up to 8 players. Witchfire looks good. Not familiar with Witchfire. We'll have a look at that in a minute. You did buy this. You only put in about 10 minutes, Kratos. Fair enough. It's very fast paced, but it runs super smooth. Is it first person? It must be, because you've got the motion controls. Okay, good. Close that off for now. Don't need the breakdancing golem thing. I don't know what Witchfire is, so please give me a moment while I bring up a trailer for that. Witchfire. There's a Witchfire teaser, Witchfire gameplay, new details. There's lots of videos about it. Just going to bring up the teaser. The teaser's going to have to be enough for now. Let's have a little look at this. So, we're hitting the higher end of visual fidelity for sure. But what do? You go into a green tree portal and explore some ruins. Don't know. What is it? From the creators of The Vanishing of Ethan Carter. There's another game that I haven't played that's supposed to be very good. Also fully available in VR. Oh, it's got wind and storm and dust. I like this game. I want Witchfire now. Didn't even need like the gun and the big evil tortoise plant thing. Imagine how much better this would be in virtual reality. So I will continue to say about everything until it happens. And I will continue to whine about not being able to play Forza in virtual reality. So be used to that and accept it. When does Witchfire come out then? Tony? You are correct that it looks good, and I would like that one. We've not even got onto... So I had a list of games that I pulled out of thin air like a minute before the show, just to give myself some prompts. I've not touched on any of them yet. Ethan Carter's on your... Is it a mod for Ethan Carter? I thought they had a native VR support on that one. Maybe it's a mod. Sometimes there's no difference. That's not what the game actually looks like though, unless you're misremembering it. Patrick, if I've been suckered by a dodgy video, I won't be pleased by that. Do we like my thumbnail today? Can you see the thumbnail while the video's live? That might be one that needs some feedback afterwards. So if you're watching after the fact and you clicked on it because you love the thumbnail, please leave a comment to say that you clicked on this because you love the thumbnail. And then you hated the content because turns out it was me. And that's fine. That's fine, we'll take it. December 2022, but most likely it'll be delayed till next year. Tony, that makes no sense. Like, okay. You want to see me play Cyberpunk 2077 in VR? Cyberpunk is on my list, but not until I get the latest and greatest of graphics technology, because that one is fairly demanding. And I want to be able to run it at a decent rate. So my meek and humble 3090 is not up to snuff. Which isn't true. I could play it, but I could play it better if I hold off and wait for something better. Plus, I don't think I want to play Cyberpunk until the Phantom Liberty DLC is part of it, because I reckon it'll be quite a bit better game by that point. The tagline for your graphic design ability is good idea, execution went wrong in the last 10 minutes. I disagree. You need a new tagline, because it looked good to me from what I've seen of it. Witchfire is coming out early 2023. Good. Good, but now I don't trust it. Someone's sown seeds of doubt as to what that trailer actually was. What's next? So let's go through my list from the top as a prompt. So Hades 2. We've spoken about Hades 2 here before. Hades 2 is the pancake game that I'm most enthusiastic about at the moment. Which might sound silly with the likes of Starfield and Spider-Man 2 and all of these things. But I really liked Hades a lot. So I'm very much looking forward to Hades 2. Do we have... like, show of hands, have we got the Hades fans in the chat? Have we got people that appreciate just how perfect that game feels to play? Is Painful Discourse not here? Painful Discourse is not here. So Painful Discourse, if you're watching after the fact, thumbs up. Nice of you. You were missed. Patrick has a thumbs up. Wayne, you can't play Hades for 2 hours unless you're saying that you're so incredibly powerful that you played it for 2 hours and you'd finished it. That's all it took for you to escape Hades 10 times. In which case you're just edging ahead of my record. I'm really good at Hades, you see. It's my game. Would I be happy with the same thing, just extra levels and story to it, or would I want a whole new game? No, it's got to be the same thing, Tony. It's got to have obviously new levels and new weapons and combinations to go with it, but it's got to be broadly the same thing, because Hades is cool as fuck already, and it's fairly simplistic to look at, but it feels so good to play. Just the way that enemies stagger is perfect. The way that you can smash them into walls and things is really satisfying. And I just like it a lot. Obviously, it's got its story and it's got its hooks. It's got the same kind of hooks as Vampire Survivor. And I don't want to sound like a broken record because I've said this every week for the last 3 or 4 weeks. But it has that thing where you are powerful for a short run and it's satisfying and it makes you want to go again. Just like Vampire Survivors does. You combine things in different ways, get an exciting build, and then it's ripped away from you, but in a way that doesn't feel mean. It feels good and it makes you want to do it again. Hades had that, and I say this is someone that does not like roguelike games. I do not like roguelike games. I play very few of them. I want to try Risk of Rain 2 to see if it lands better with me, but Hades is pretty much the only roguelike game that I enjoy up to this point. I liked Vampire Survivors a bit for what it was worth, but no, nothing touches Hades for me, so I want to play it. Yes, if you are here and talking in chat and having these conversations, that's great, but please do use the YouTube Q&A feature as well, because there will be a little section at the end where I will address every single question that you drop in there. I don't know if there are any in there yet or not. I can't actually see that. Isla has full control of the question pile, but Isla says we need more questions in the question pile, so obey. Ask questions. KY, welcome. Happy New Year to you as well. Happy New Year to everyone in chat, if I haven't already caught you with that nice, positive, friendly message. Tony's put a question. Good, Tony. I look forward to a Tony question always. I'm sure it's civil and sensible and sophisticated. And Tony contributed something. Yes, that sounds like a Tony contribution. With great power comes great responsibility. I trust her. It's fine. It's fine. What else? So that's Hades. We had a thumbs down. Who dares put a thumb down for Hades? It's okay. It's okay. Like, I've been watching Xbox fans talk about VR all day. I can handle people talking bad about Hades. We're allowed to like different games. I accept your thumbs down. Next game, Atomic Heart. How are we feeling about Atomic Heart at the moment? That's an open question for everyone in chat, because I suspect most people will agree that the trailers look very good, but do we expect Atomic Heart to launch looking like the trailers? How confident are we that there's a good game at the end of it? Finding trailers. Official trailer 1 4 years ago. Do you know what? I'm going to open that one. I wasn't planning to, but I searched on YouTube Atomic Heart trailer, and actually the first two from the official Atomic Heart channel. We've got one from 4 months ago and one from 4 years ago. So let's start with 4 years ago. So what did Atomic Heart look like right at the start of its development, you'd have to assume? So there's robots, there's trees, it looks fancy, it looks pretty well polished. Stuff going on. There's a bath, there's a dog structure made of vines of some kind. Robots and soldiers, moving landscapes, fluidy things. Lots of diversity in what it's showing. It's playing at some terrible resolution, so hopefully it being shrunk down on screen you don't notice that as much as I am. Obviously there's part CGI and part gameplay in this trailer. Got that Nier vibe in some of the robot designs, but see, I find this concerning because this trailer from 4 years ago looks like a game, and it clearly and obviously was not a game 4 years ago, because that was 4 years ago. So the fact that they're capable of putting together a trailer like this when they actually have nothing makes me wonder if they actually have anything now. Oh, you can drink paint. Day one, buying this game, drinking all the paint. Why can you drink paint? I don't know, but it's the kind of thing that I would do if I had an opportunity. It's all CGI. See, Tony, if it is all CGI, it's very deceptive. That wasn't all CGI. Some of that was some kind of in-engine demo. And I'm not just saying that because it has button prompts. Sound Grant, we'll get back to that one in a minute. We'll get back to that Apple headset in a minute, because I promised to look at the 4 months ago trailer for comparison's sake. So Atomic Heart as of 4 months ago has a skeleton picnic, stop frozen explosions, and it's still made by Mundfish. You sent 2 questions. Thank you, Kratos. I promise we will get to them. So it's still very weird. It's still obviously, like, I don't want to feel cliche and mention Bioshock too much, but obviously that kind of weird dystopian vibes are there and strong, and somebody creative behind it is coming up with this stuff and putting it into some form anyway, regardless of how it turns out in a game. So there's hope that it is actually as good as it appears to be in trailers. There's hope. But I can't help but have my doubts. So what are we thinking though? What are we thinking for Atomic Heart? Because this is just me. I spout my doubts, and they're not necessarily fair at all. The studio's not doing anything wrong. I'm doubting them because their game looks so good. And I'm a skeptical bastard. You now have 4 and a bit questions. Atomic Heart is going to be a sleeper hit. I think it's on a lot of people's radar already, so I'm not sure it counts as a sleeper. With the trailers being as good as they are, I'm not sure it counts as a sleeper. It's either going to be a hit or it's going to be a disappointment. We'll look at Judas next. Someone mentioned Judas in chat earlier. Atomic Shard. Maybe, yeah, it could turn out to be. Is it going to be an Atomic Heart or is it an Atomic Shard? Good line, good line. You should be the YouTuber around here. And I should watch. I'm not a YouTuber. I don't like these terms really. I'm just being weird. You're curious to give it a try. It's definitely, I mean, it's on Game Pass, so even if it is terrible, we can try it, right? It looks so good though. It looks so good. Which is where my doubts come from. Obviously it looks like a game that will be better in virtual reality, and because all games look, well, all games are better in VR. Just the way it is. The other thing about this that I say that my only cause for doubt is these trailers being so good. It is also available on Xbox One, which always gives me like pause when something looks complicated like this. When you're shooting and swiping little holes into these robots and there's debris flying all over the environment, spells going off and physics everywhere. And then you see that it's also available on the Xbox One. It just makes me question it a little bit. Like, is it? Is it really? But hopefully not the Atomic Shard. So, I want to look at Judas. I want to look at Judas next. Because it's related. They are similar dystopias. Their own distinct kind of style, but both have the Bioshock vibe. But I searched for dystopia instead of Judas. Words and talking at the same time gets very confusing. But Judas is the one that comes from Ken Levine. So it comes from the creator of the original Bioshock games that were so loved and revered. The games that had the best demo of any games ever. The Bioshock demo was a brilliant hour that was better than the game itself in my opinion. But Atomic Heart looks nuts, and it's unreal. It does look nuts, but does that mean Space Denizen? Does that mean you believe that it's gonna be that when it comes out? Or are we being sold a lie? Because Judas looks more flawed than Atomic Heart. It looks more believable to me. You can see the jagged edges in Judas. So it feels more like a trailer pulled from a real game. I don't know. I want to be wrong. I want Atomic Heart to be the game that it looks like. But if not, we can always fall back to Judas that I'm more convinced is what it says on the tin. Tony, no, we haven't. We haven't got on to the Apple VR AR thing. So the latest rumours going around this week are that Apple's entry into VR/AR/whatever their headset is going to be is going to cost $3,000 and probably £3,000. 3,000 monies, and have like nice screens and a waist strap battery. Yes, Wayne, 3,000 monies. So I don't know, we don't talk about Apple very much here, but my general opinion on Apple as a company is that they're a pile of pricks. I don't like them. It's a shame. Like, the world could use Apple being a good company, but they're a pile of pricks. You'll wait for it to be 20 quid. Yeah, that is some way too, Wayne. But what if it's the only way to play Lawnmower Simulator augmented reality version, where you have a real garden? You can go outside into your garden and ride a pretend lawnmower and pretend that you've successfully made the lawn nice and tidy. Steve Jobs better be the voice assistant for that. Yeah, I don't know how true it is. I don't know where these rumors have come from, but it has spread quite far and wide that it is that expensive, and that it has 4K per eye resolution and a waste battery pack. I think Apple's push is more towards augmented reality rather than virtual, so letting you see the real world and overlaying graphics into it in the way that HoloLens does, I suppose, and in the way that the Quest Pro tries to do, doesn't do very well. Will be included in my review when I get there. But augmented reality is, a lot of people consider it an easier future to reach, or a brighter future than virtual reality. Virtual reality's strength is in games, basically. For a wider audience and more broad functionality, augmented reality might make more sense in a lot of circumstances. For me, as somebody that just wants to get into other worlds and play games, VR is more exciting. For me, the future of the two technologies, so the difference, like I say, augmented reality, you see reality around you, the real world, and other things are brought into it. Virtual reality, you cut off completely from the real world as much as you can anyway, and exist in an alternate reality. I definitely think the two technologies will converge over time, so you'll have headsets that deliver both. So a screen that can cover off the world or let you see it, in the way that Quest Pro tries to do already. Augmented reality has all of these business use cases, all of these social use cases, all of these casual, like, screens around your house or whatever, kind of practical things you can do with it. But man, I'm a nerdy little gamer, so I want to get into proper VR, get into games and play like that. What Apple are doing though, if it's going to cost $3,000, pounds, whatever, and be tied to an Apple ecosystem, I don't know. I wanted to be excited about it. Like, more players in the VR space is good news for me. Players that are willing to inject cash into it, players that have dedicated fan bases that are going to invest in that ecosystem and help drive it forwards, should be good for virtual reality. But Apple seems to be, if these rumors are remotely true, just I don't know what they're playing at. They're going for some kind of weird status symbol. You're going to see celebrities walking on red carpets with these headsets on, trying to prove how wealthy they are, or something stupid like that. And then you're going to get that Apple fan base buying one of them every year, because Apple going to Apple. Wayne, Microsoft should bring Microsoft should bring in HoloLens for some games. HoloLens is a weird one. Get on that in a second. So Nathan Martin is a name that I haven't seen around here as well. So welcome, Nathan. There's been quite a few new names here today, which I appreciate. So thank you for coming along and talking and joining in. If you are here in the background, if you just don't want to get involved in the chat, but you're also here for the first time, you're very welcome. Sit and watch and listen. It is all appreciated, but you must hit the like button. That's the condition for listening silently or after the fact. So Nathan, you've got a Quest 2 or a Meta 2 or an Oculus 2 or a Facebook. Yeah, whole string of names. I still try and go with Oculus when I can, but you find the narrow field of view a bit annoying as much as you love it. What current headset has the widest field of view? So the widest at the moment, outside of the real, like, strange ones, is still the Valve Index, which is it's quite a bit wider than the Quest. I don't know how, I can't remember the numbers, but it's quite a bit wider than most of the mainstream ones. If you go outside of, like, mainstream headsets and you look at some of the more obscure Pimax and Star, can't even remember what they're called, like weird expensive, what are the Star ones called? I don't know. But you get some proper wide ones if you go really niche. They don't have good software support though. I would say The Quest 2 is particularly narrow. I think the PlayStation VR 2 and other mainstream headsets are noticeably different. The problem that I have with the Quest 2's field of view is not so much the field of view at the sides, but it makes a big difference to me if I can see the overlap in the inside of the lenses. Then it becomes binocular vision instead of being in the world. And Quest 2 is a little bit binocular vision, but it does a lot right as well, so I can forgive it. Quest 2 made wireless virtual reality real for me, so that was worth any trade-off because it's wonderful. So Nathan, do you use your Quest 2 just natively, or do you use it with a PC as well? Patrick, please don't die. Tony's correct. Oh, you'll die for Tony. Oh, that's different, Tony. That's romantic. And me crying would equally be romantic. And Isla choking is more tragic. Don't choke. Adriano Italiano, you got a Pico 4 for Christmas. You're loving VR. So Pico 4 I've never tried. It has pancake lenses, which are my favourite thing about new headsets at the moment. No, really do make a big difference for VR. Pico 4 is supposed to be very good as a standalone. And are you using it with a PC, or are you using it standalone? What have you got on your Pico 4? Because that's where it falls short of Quest, and why I would still typically recommend a Quest over it for a new VR person that's not using it with the PC. The Pico 4 has a smaller ecosystem. There's less available at the moment, which is hopefully a thing that will change over time. But in terms of like bang for your buck and what that headset can do and what it's supposed to look like, it's a very good one. You're using it with the 4090 and virtual desktop. Tell me then, what games are you enjoying on it? What do you recommend? What are the best VR games that you're playing on your Pico 4? I also, I don't want to like draw you for too much information if you don't want to type it, but I would quite like to know if you've played any other VR headsets, how the Pico 4 compares to any other ones that you know about, because that will help me understand it. Nathan, you're currently just playing natively, but you're looking at investing in a better setup. You wanted the Meta and the Oculus Pro to be a bit more reachable, but not at 1,500. Like I say, I will do a proper review of the Quest Pro. For me, I do love it, but it's definitely... Yeah, the price is a lot for what it does over the Quest and over the Pico. So, well, I do love it as well. VR's my favourite thing, so I'm happy to get whatever works. Space Citizen, you're using the Quest 2 and you're looking forward to the PSVR 2. I'm very much looking forward to the PSVR 2. So you probably saw last night or whatever time in your country that Sony did their Consumer Electronics Show presentation. They talked a little bit about the PlayStation VR 2. They didn't talk a lot about it, but they mentioned there are 30 games coming out on launch day, which is a few more than people were already aware of, but I don't know what the missing ones are. Apart from one, they announced Gran Turismo 7 is having VR support, and it looks to be full VR support. The demo that they had on stage had a track full of cars. So if you had Gran Turismo Sport on the PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation VR 1, Gran Turismo Sport was already a fairly limited game, but it was a game with races and lots you could do. They had a VR mode in Gran Turismo Sport, but because the PlayStation 4 really was struggling to run that game, the VR mode in it was very cut down. You could only play it 1v1 against a computer opponent on certain tracks and without weather conditions and things like that. So it was a very cut down version of Gran Turismo Sport. Gran Turismo 7 on the PlayStation 5 should be a different story. It should be a nice full-fledged VR experience. And it's funny because when we were talking about Gran Turismo 7 over the course of the last year, like since it came out in March or whenever it was, I've always spoken very negatively about it. If you watch the Go Live shows, you might remember this specifically because we had a conversation across, I can't remember who was guesting that week, but obviously Gaz was there, there were two other people, and we had a conversation where I pretty much ripped into Gran Turismo 7 quite harshly for its microtransactions and all the rest of it. And I said to Gaz at the end, though, like, which game do you think I'm going to play more of, Forza Motorsport 8 or Gran Turismo 7? And he guessed that I was going to play Forza Motorsport 8 because Forza, like, we wax lyrical about it, Forza's a better series in general than Gran Turismo. Or it has been for quite some time in my opinion, but I was like, no Gaz, not at all. I will play Gran Turismo 7 more because Gran Turismo 7 is going to get virtual reality support and it's completely transformative for racing games. a racing game on a screen does not come close to a racing game in a virtual reality headset, and I can't go back. Not even Forza Horizon 5, which is a wonderful game. Forza Horizon 5 is evidently a wonderful game. Really well constructed, like brilliant team. Playground are a brilliant team, but Forza Horizon 5 is a pancake racing game, so it's just not that interesting. And this is what frustrates me with Microsoft, and why I always say Phil Spencer needs to step down. Microsoft needs to be barred from acquiring any studios until they give me Forza Horizon in virtual reality. And then they can do whatever the hell they want. But that's a thing that has to happen. It's ridiculous that I can't do it. Bloody Microsoft. So yeah, Gran Turismo 7 is one of them. Adriana, you're playing Half-Life Alyx, Demeo, Skyrim, Star Wars Squadrons, and Walkabout Mini Golf. That is a brilliant list of games. I want to say I like all of them. I haven't played Demeo or Walkabout Mini Golf, but they're games that are on my list, but I don't have the friend group to play them. Demeo you can play on your own, and I might have to resort to that in the near future. But yeah, fantastic games, good list. So I'm glad you're having fun with it. In fact, so Adriana, you asked, didn't you? You mentioned, you're the YouTube comment, you asked what mods to get for Skyrim. So yeah, I gave you a starting point, but there are many, many mods that are worth having. Looks like it was probably Husk and Hagi. Good, Island. Keep a note of that one, because I might need to find that little clip where I actually said that. That would be a helpful thing to reference. Kratos, you do want a PlayStation VR 2, but you'd like to see them have the entire PSVR library as well, as you want lots of games to play, so that'll be worth the cost. The PSVR 1 library, I wouldn't worry about seeing the entirety of it, just pressure them to put the good ones across. There's a lot of trash, like VR has a lot of experimental nonsense that doesn't need to be brought forwards. I know people want it to be backward compatible and feel that it should be and all the rest of it. Whatever Sony's reasons are, and there are some pretty good reasons that it's difficult. Not impossible though, but I think so long as the good games get supported going onto it, that's fine. And the big question that everyone should have with Sony is that is support going to continue in year 2 and year 3 and year 4? So I actually think the PlayStation VR 2 has a pretty strong initial lineup. I've got Gran Turismo 7, that Horizon game, Resident Evil 8-age, Walking Dead Saints and Sinners 2, Firewall Ultra, and you can play No Man's Sky and things like that. Like, it's got a pretty strong opening few months of games as VR goes, and I'm very, very excited by it. But PlayStation VR 1 had a reasonable opening year of games as well, and Sony kind of dropped support for it, and most of the industry dropped support for it. So I think it's fair for anybody that is looking on, like, VR curious and considering whether to get PSVR 2, it's very fair to question how long-term support will be. That's a problem that Sony have made for themselves. I also just think it's going to be a really good headset. I really do think it's going to be great fun. Nathan Martin, Xbox/Microsoft support for virtual reality when? No. So my problem with Microsoft isn't even that they don't support it on Xbox. Well, I've got one problem quite specific to me. They said before the Xbox One X came out, while it was still called Project Scorpio, they said they were making it to support high fidelity virtual reality, and they pretty much promised it for that console and then walked it back afterwards, which is a little bit annoying, but they can do that. And what Microsoft and Phil Spencer have said is that it's not ready for console. They want to see it fully wireless, and they want to see this, that and the other before they consider supporting it. And I don't disagree with them. They are like sensible for waiting. The console user base, well, VR has serious issues with motion sickness and things like that. So if they want to see that progress before they try and deliver it to a mass market, that makes a lot of sense, and I've got no problem with it. The bit that I have a problem with is that they also said that they feel that PC is the space for VR to thrive and grow and develop, and they're going to focus on what's happening in the PC space and support it over there. And I find Microsoft, as their support in the PC VR space, they've got a decent like the Windows mixed reality headsets are functional, they work quite well. They're decent enough in that sense. They can make VR work. The third party, like the way that they made the Windows mixed reality headset, so having a base spec and working with any hardware developer that wants to license it out and get those headsets made. That was a good open way to make VR headsets, but in terms of support, what VR needs and has needed for the longest time is just big games, and Microsoft are sitting on the Forza IP and things like Halo, obviously, that are a bit more elaborate, but they're sitting on Forza games and not letting me play them in virtual reality. That's frustrating to me from Microsoft's end, but to exacerbate it and really frustrate me is they acquire the studios that do support VR. So Ninja Theory support VR, In Exile support VR, ZeniMax and Bethesda heavily support VR. And Microsoft buy these studios and stop them from making VR games, and that's sad. So I'm not anti, like, it will sound like I'm ranting and I'm suddenly a PlayStation fanboy or whatever. I'm not. I like a lot of things that Xbox are doing, but they are suffocating virtual reality, and it's very sad because virtual reality is my favorite thing. So I will moan about it until something changes on that front. The SSD you installed into your Steam Deck started failing. You got to get a replacement. How much was the SSD that you put in your Steam Deck, Tony? And did you do some dodgy YouTube hack, or is it one that's actually supported? Nathan, you like the way they're moving at the moment in terms of Game Pass. You get mobile is as big, and surely Game Pass VR will be hugely popular. Nothing VR is going to be popular at the moment. And you're right, like when I say that there are things I like about Xbox, I do like what they're doing with Game Pass. I do like what they're doing, not really pursuing timed exclusives all the time and crap like that. I do like the way they're trying to open up gaming to more people. I just don't like the way that they're hindering virtual reality. So none of these companies are doing everything right. There's plenty that Sony do wrong as well, and Nintendo I don't even understand. So Microsoft Flight Sim is the only virtual reality game, almost, not strictly true. So Minecraft you can play in virtual reality as well. Minecraft was like their opening gambit. They've also got they've got a terrible Halo experience that you can do as well. So right when virtual reality came about, the dawn of that new era, Microsoft put Minecraft in it as an experiment, but it's a very basic version of Minecraft. It's controller support. So there's a mod of Minecraft that is far better if you are into playing that kind of thing. But it is like Microsoft's Minecraft does officially support VR, so that's one. They also have a Halo experience, which is the worst thing you can play in VR. Because it's a shooting gallery, so you open up into like a Halo themed kind of room, and there's a screen, and it puts up like paper cutout grunts and elites for you to shoot in a target gallery, and it says, "Great, you did it." And then the chief drives in a Warthog, and a gateway opens, and you can see out into a Halo world, but you never get to go and explore it and do anything that's actually Halo. It's just a shooting gallery. And Asobo with Flight Simulator is a little bit different because Asobo are not owned by Microsoft. So the way that came about was the user community for Flight Simulator put so much pressure on Asobo that they went to Microsoft and insisted that they be allowed to support virtual reality. So it's there. Flight Simulator is the one fully supported VR game from Microsoft. But it's kind of like begrudging afterthought because they're working with a second party rather than Microsoft actually supporting in the PC space like they said that they would. Kaya Santi, welcome along, another VR fan. Let's do it. Let's build a proper virtual reality community that comes here and talks virtual reality, and to hell with everybody else, right? Apart from those of you here that don't like virtual reality, you're still welcome. So to be fair, Xbox isn't stopping them. If Bethesda wanted to put PC Starfield in VR, you doubt Xbox management would stop them. I don't doubt it. I think they really do stop them. I don't think they are leaving the choice to them. I'd like that not to be true. Bethesda's VR games, they've already made Doom VFR, Skyrim VR, Fallout 4 VR, and they quite recently, after their acquisition, released Doom 3 VR on the PlayStation. Now, PlayStation Minecraft has PSVR 1 support as well. So I don't know, KSNT. I would like to think that Microsoft are giving people that choice, but I can't see any world where the developers of Forza would not want to support virtual reality in the PC space. You can't be into a racing game and not want to deliver that because it's too good. I don't accept it. Don't accept that anyone has played it and considered VR and gone, no, we don't really want to do that. It's not worth it. So no, I think Microsoft do specifically withhold it. I'd like that not to be true, but I really do think it is. And all the studios that, so when I mentioned In Exile, they did The Mage's Tale VR, Ninja Theory did Hellblade VR. Who else? There's a couple of others as well. And none of them have been allowed to touch VR since they were acquired by Microsoft. But, like I say, Forza and Forza Horizon, those are the, like, the turning point for me. Until Microsoft give me Forza in virtual reality, they shouldn't be allowed to acquire anyone. That's my stance, I'm not leaving it. Most commercial racing rigs and simulators bring the screen as close to a wheel as possible. How about putting the screen in your face? It's so much better. No matter how close you bring the screens, and you get like wraparound screens and nonsense like that. No, VR racing's brilliant and I love it. Mediocre games are better than good games when you talk racing games in VR. A mediocre racing game in VR is better than a brilliant racing game on a pancake. Maybe someone at Playground in a position of power doesn't like VR. See, my theory, KSNT, is that Phil Spencer doesn't like. Phil Spencer was the one that came out saying Scorpio is going to support high fidelity virtual reality, and my theory is that he played virtual reality at some point after that conversation and he felt sick and decided that no one's allowed VR because it makes him feel sick. Yeah, Gran Turismo 7 movie is going to bomb. Yeah, I don't care for a Gran Turismo movie. I don't know why they're doing that. What's a good racing VR game? So I would very strongly recommend Dirt Rally 2. And depending on how much you like your driving, I'm a big fan of Project Cars 2 as well. But some people prefer Assetto Corsa and things like that. You can also play the latest F1 game. So EA's F1 2022 or whatever it is all fully VR as well. No VR on Phil's shelf. Nope. Nope, that is all true. Do you know what? This hasn't unfolded in the way that I expected it to. I've got a list of games that I thought we'd talk about today. We've got Hades, Atomic Heart, S.T.A.L.K.E.R, Spider-Man 2, Final Fantasy XVI, Starfield, Redfall, Forza Motorsport 8, Monster Hunter Forspoken and Chocolate Frogs. That's my list of games I thought we might talk about, with a little subnote for PlayStation VR 2 saying like Gran Turismo Horizon, Resident Evil 8, Saints and Sinners and Firewall Ultra. These are the things that I thought we would run through, but I also promised it would be a short show and we're already an hour and a half in. So I'm going to cut all of those and move on to the last mini topic before we do the questions and answers. So if you have questions that you want to throw into the Q&A section, there are a few there that we'll go through, but drop them in because they will definitely all be addressed. But I have a question for you before we do that. Based on, I'll tell you what it's based on before I ask the question. I saw from CES, so the Consumer Electronics Show, that was on, or is still on at the moment. There's a company there, and I've lost the details, so I can't remember what they were called, but they are showing off their smelly technology. They took Project Cars 2 off of Steam. Those bastards. 3's not supposed to be as good, but does still support VR, so it might still be worth a look. So they're developing smelly tech, and they're not the first ones to do it. There have been some others around, but previously it required like loading up the thing with the correct sense or whatever before you could play. This one seems a bit different, but the general concept of being able to smell your game worlds, they're making it for virtual reality, where obviously it makes a lot of sense because you're already immersed and you can smell the things around you, but forget the virtual reality side of it for a moment. I would like to know if there are any game worlds that you would like to smell. Because my problem with the concept of smell in games is that games take you to some pretty dark and horrible places, and most of the time I would not want to smell them. So I don't want to stick something to my face that's going to let me take in the aroma of the sewers that I'm escaping through, or the big pit of dead skeleton body things. Or the hentai, Tony. No, I don't want to smell it. Thank you very much. But are there games where you think, hey, this would be significantly enhanced if I could smell these flowers or the aromas from this kitchen, or you know, good smells that you might actually want. Any games that you think would be much better if you could smell them? That's my question for you. Strawberry Lace Heroes, is that actually a game? My throat's going dry. All this talking is good though, right? All you need is sulfur and dead flesh. So, Wayne, you are playing Lawnmower Simulator all wrong. Or completely right. I didn't even know there were, like, those things available. Fruit Ninja, yeah, that would be better if you could smell it. That's a good shout, Patrick. I would enjoy that. High on Life's World. Yeah, I don't know what that would smell like, but... When you do 4DX at the cinema, they use strawberry laces smell when the heroes come on screen. Do they? That's lame. Why would heroes have to smell good? I think the heroes should all smell of hard work. And then they should disable all the smelling technologies, because strawberry laces is a weird choice. So, is that true, by the way, or are you speaking nonsense? Are you sure you weren't just sitting near somebody that had strawberry laces? They also use burned coffee beans for the skunk smell. Thank you, Tony. Any particular gallon of anything you want to smell in high... Oh, yeah. Good question. High on Life, by the way, another game that's going to be much better in VR. And that mod will come soon. Yeah, if they don't officially support it. I wouldn't be surprised if Squanch do officially support it when they make it. But if not, it'll definitely get a Prey Dog flat to VR mod. Tony, you're just very upfront. I'd like to smell the aliens, thanks. Fair enough. If we ever get actual alien invasions, I hope you take the opportunity to greet them and have a sniff. Let's have a look at questions, shall we? I don't know how to look at questions. Isla, cycle the questions. Do you do that for me, or have I got some way of cycling? The bad guys smell really artificial, like strawberry laces aren't artificial. Tony asked, question. That's pretty tame for a Tony, actually. So, no comment, Tony, that's fine. Kayasanti has asked a question in the chat, which is fine as well. So, about Sony's Consumer Electronics PlayStation VR 2 show. Since they didn't announce Alex, do you think it will ever come? Sony are convinced it's coming, but for some reason you doubt it. I think it will. Valve have never been closed off to working with any of the console platform holders for their games, so I do think it will. I also think Half-Life Alyx was a pretty expensive endeavour for them, and they want people to play it. So my guess is yes, but it's based on no evidence whatsoever. Did I hear about the new Vive? Does that ruin everything? No, I did hear about it. So they've got their current latest headset is put up against the Quest Pro. I can't remember what it's called. It's like Vive XR expensive something or other. They're putting it up against the Quest Pro, and my problem with Vive has always been their controllers. I don't know what controllers the new one is using. So the Vive ecosystem was initially built around Steam trackers, and with the horrible ones. Valve XR Elite, yeah, Vive. I always want to say Vive, but Vive XR expensive. The controllers are bad. It's also it's another standalone VR headset, which is not my preference. So there's a range of them, and they all run on the same kind of chipset, and they all run games natively, which is fine to an extent. But what excites me more is high-end VR. So by all means do these native ones, but please also give me, and this is the same for Meta, Oculus, whatever, please give me ones that are designed to work with my PC. Or the PlayStation 5 or whatever else. Tony, I've said it before and I will say it again. Every game is better in VR. Cringe. So no, I don't want the Vive XR Elite. Vive's headsets have been less reliable. Their inside-out tracking Cosmos or whatever it was called was kind of bad. They've got a weird string of hits and misses, but they are one of these companies that has continued to push and develop and invest in VR. So I'm glad it exists. but I don't see anything about it that makes me want it. The Panasonic have a headset in the works that I learnt about from ACG's video. That looks quite interesting. But again, I kind of the biggest weakness that most VR headsets have isn't the experience, it's the ecosystem. They have to either work with Steam or PlayStation, really. The native experience isn't what I'm after. So does it ruin the video that you didn't make? No, it doesn't. No, none of these other developments are a problem for that video. So you carry on. What 2023 games am I anxious to play? What do you mean by anxious? Who asked this question? I need to click on it. Kratos, is that anxious as in like in a positive way, like excited to play? Or do you mean like, because the only one I'm actually anxious to play is Resident Evil 8-age, because that's going to be scary in virtual reality again. Anxious to play as in like hyped for, anticipating, want to be good. The ones that are listed off all count. So Hades and Atomic Heart, Stalker, Spider-Man 2, Final Fantasy 16. Oh, anxious for Spider-Man 6, not Spider-Man 16. Anxious for Final Fantasy 16 to some extent, because I really want Final Fantasy games to be good, and I don't trust Square Enix. The first like 2 or 3 trailers for Final Fantasy 16 were very underwhelming to me. They didn't look like it's going to be a good game, but the one that they showed at the Game Awards just gone changed my mind and made me think it could be a good game. It doesn't feel like an old Final Fantasy game, but it could turn out good. So maybe anxious about that one. Tony, the 4070 Ti is not enough. The 4090 is good enough for the next 8 months. And then you have to upgrade to a 4090 Ti, do you? You're greedy, Tony, and I like it. Patrick, you feel like they'd be shouting Alex from the rooftops if it was coming. Yeah, if it was coming soon, they would be. If it was coming at launch, they would be. If it's not coming at launch, then like if it's a little ways out, which is what I think. I think it's going to come at some point. I don't think it's there in February or anything like that, but maybe at the end of the year or something like that. Question. I'm okay. Okay, I see why Tony's talking about the 4070 Ti. It's a question that's up. So, KY asked, is a 4070 Ti future-proof build overkill for a teen? Yes, it's overkill for a teenager. Massive overkill for a teenager. These things, questions of value, are impossible for somebody else to answer because everybody has their own circumstances, their own like disposable income and all the rest of it. But yes, massive overkill for a teenager. But if you take the who it's for out of the equation and just think about like in terms of how long it's going to last and how future-proofed it is, you'll get many years out of a 4070 Ti. KSanti's question in the chat again. So, have I tried HTC's Viveport VR subscription service? They don't market it, but they've had one for some years now. KSanti, I'll tell you a secret. Don't tell anyone. I've had a subscription to that service since it launched. I'm pretty sure I'm still on the launch pricing because they extended it if you kept subscribing. So I'm pretty sure I'm still on the like dirt cheap launch pricing for that service. I don't think I've ever played a game on it. It's not very nice to use. It has its own like app storefront thing, and when it launched you could have a certain number of games installed at a time. It was like 5 or something like that, and you had to rotate through them and uninstall them when you weren't playing. It was a nasty storefront for a not entirely terrible subscription service. There are a few reasonable games on there. I don't know how good or bad it is today, like if their catalogue gets refreshed and if they have new and like relatively big games on it or not. But yes, I have heard of it and I do have it. I'm a terrible person when it comes to subscriptions. If there is a subscription, I probably have it, and I probably shouldn't have it. Question is, I need to click these. It's a little bit annoying. It doesn't tell me who asked the question. It collapses it down, so I have to click on it. So Kratos has asked, are there any remakes I'm hoping that they make? Yes, Kratos, I will forever hope for a remake of Panzer Dragoon Saga and Shining Force 3. So these are ancient Sega RPGs that I cherish and hold dear and really hope to see remade. I'd also very much like to see a proper MMORPG, so be it a World of Warcraft or a Final Fantasy XIV or anything like that, even Elder Scrolls Online. I'd like to see those brought into VR, if that counts as a remake as well. And also, every other game ever I'd like to see brought into VR, if that counts. In terms of more recent games, I'm not interested in Horizon getting a remake after 5 years or whatever. Not really bothered if they do like a Gears of War collection or any of these big ones. Rise Son of Rome would need a reboot, not a remake. So Rise Son of Rome, I really like it, but it's about 6 hours long. The first 4 hours are good, and then it falls off a cliff and goes a bit bad. So I don't think they should remake Rise Son of Rome like as is, but if they wanted to change it up and fix up the way that it closes, then I'd be all for that. I'd rather see a long rumoured Rise Son of England or whatever they want to call the sequel if they ever make it. And Brute Force I have no strong feelings about. It's a very easily forgotten game. Tony, having a 4090, only certain games benefit. It's not that it benefits all the games. Well, 4090 is very good for content creation if you need a whole load of memory, and for fully path traced experiments. So if you want to play ray traced Minecraft and ray traced Quake and overdrive mode on Cyberpunk and things like that, then it has uses, but never uses that will justify the price of it relative to the lower tiers of graphics card. That's just the way that those Halo products work on graphics cards. Always is and always will be. Same question, like same comment that I made for KY. Disposable income and value, it's going to vary from person to person, so I can't sit here and say this card is not worth it for anyone in particular. But yeah, that's all I can really say on it. You want to see Ace Attorney capture the flag? Oh, CMA and FTC edition. That will be a thing, Tony. That would be a thing that I would ignore, just like all of the rest of the FTC and Activision nonsense. Nostalgia is maybe a dangerous thing. I really like I say, I played Rise Son of Rome within the last 2 years. I played it again on the PC. I also really liked it. I genuinely think it got all of its hate because of the launch state of the Xbox One rather than what the game did itself. But if you're familiar with the way that Rise Son of Rome plays out, I'd say it's very, very good until the point that Marius goes back to Rome. And if you remember that the weird shifting, moving, futuristic Colosseum section is what happens when you go back to Rome. From that point, it's kind of nonsense. But really good until that point. You did a year of Vive Port and you got 3 good games to keep out of it. Yeah, that's the other reason I kept it. I'm sure, I can't remember what I got, but yeah, I got some games to keep from it. I think there are some good things on there, but I don't know. There's things happening. Sorry, I've missed some chat. I'm seeing pictures of nostrils, not literally seeing pictures of nostrils. Next question, KY has asked. Oh no, I missed one. It disappeared in front of me. What just happened? There was a question about Unreal Engine from KY, I think, but I didn't catch the question. Here we are. Are Unreal Engine 5 games going to overpromise and underdeliver on current consoles? The Matrix demo was just... stop collapsing, stupid chat. Matrix demo was just a demo after all. So if people are expecting visual fidelity like the Matrix demo, they're not going to get it. All right. That ran at about 23 frames per second, so that's pretty much... they're not going to look like that. But I don't think it's going to overpromise and underdeliver. I think it's going to deliver very well. I think we're going to see these 60 frames per second games with many, many fancy visual lighting effects and all the rest of it. So it's going to take some time to iron out the kinks, maybe so, but I think it will start delivering soon. So that's a positive. What if China/Tencent steps into VR? Good or bad for gaming? I don't mind. Like, money into VR is good. nobody having too much control and insidious influence over gaming is good, but I include Microsoft and Sony and Nintendo in that as well. I don't want any big conglomerate to become like steward of gaming. So I don't think Tencent investing is a bad thing. If Tencent were to get like a controlling stake in anything, then that would be a bad thing. But same for all of these other companies as well. So yeah, cool. Put the money into it, please. What do I think of the rumor that standing a PlayStation 5 vertical is killing it? I've done no investigation into it. I've seen the YouTube thumbnail headlines being shared around to say that essentially the liquid cooling in the processor thing is seeping down and causing it to presumably not cool the chip properly at that point. I've had my PlayStation 5 since launch, so a little over 2 years now. I stand it very vertically because I don't really have space to lie it down. Need to like clear a mattress worth of space to lie that thing down, so it's going to stay vertical, and I'm going to hope that it doesn't break. And I don't know, if it is like that widespread an issue, then eventually it'll go the way of the red ring of death, and Sony will have to offer some kind of warranty on it, some extended warranty replacement service. We shall see. I'm not too worried. Keep in mind, as it is, it still works for now. What was my VR game of 2022? And Skyrim doesn't count. Oh, so 2022 was actually, I think, a really bad year for VR. This is why one of the reasons that I'm really excited for PlayStation VR 2 is not just the hardware itself. The hardware is good, don't get me wrong, but it's the fact that it should reinvigorate developer interest in games, in making them come about and doing new ones. Games that actually came out in 2022. There's so few. Technically, Walking Dead Saints and Sinners came out in 2022. It's come out as a Quest native game. It's timed exclusive. So it's going to be 2023 that I get to play it. That's almost certainly going to be the best game of 2022 though. There's a game called Hubris in the PC space that looks very pretty. I haven't tried it yet. Fully intend to. The other ones that stand out were Among Us VR, which I've not played and probably won't. And I can't remember. So if I can't have Skyrim, I presumably also can't have Blade and Sorcery, but I can have the Resident Evil mods, right? Those were this year. So you can play Resident Evil 2, 3, 7 and 8 in virtual reality. Resident Evil 4 on the Quest, that's another one, that's good. But generally though, as a more broad overview of 2022 in VR, massive lack of games. Very disappointing lack of games that needs Sony to fix it. Isla, you wanted to play what with me? Among Us VR? But you need 8 people. 8 people, and it's not cross-platform with the pancake version. You'd need 8 people in virtual reality to have a good time on that. You're 8 people. You're not, but I would like to play Demio with a smaller group, so that's more likely than Among Us. So, next question. Wait. With PlayStation going on stage and saying TV movies just before the release of the PlayStation VR 2, do you think this is their Connect moment, or do different rules apply? Different rules apply. I stand by my stance that Microsoft were treated overly harshly for their TV announce of the Xbox One, and for their direction with it in general. Tony, you're confusing me. So, Bone Labs, yes, KSNT, that's a good point. Bone Labs came out this year and is a very mod-heavy game, so it should get better and better over time. So with PlayStation going on stage saying TV movies, so PlayStation are going everywhere as much as they can and not getting a lot of stick for doing that. I really don't think that Microsoft deserved the stick that they got when the Xbox One launched. I don't think that Rise deserved 5s and 6s in its reviews. I don't yes, Sauron Grant. I don't know if that's an answer or not, but you know, that's what we're going with. What would High on Life even smell like? I mean, it's got right near the start of High on Life, you go through a sewer section where they state that it's so foul that nothing could survive. They're fishing in the sewage, saying that no fish live here, it's toxic. The only good thing about this place is that you can end it by jumping in the sludge at any time. So, High on Life would not smell great. I think it would be a fair reason to disable the smelling technology entirely to avoid the sewer. Care to comment on Twitter stuff? What kind of Twitter stuff? What does that mean? I think that was a question from you. You must elaborate, because I don't understand the question. Answer is good enough. Thanks, Elron Grant. I didn't realise it was that kind of exam test scenario. I would have tried harder if I thought it was a pass or fail kind of question. Tony, quote all the games line by line. What are you talking about? Quote what games? Crazy. What am I going to do on Twitter? So, some people may not have noticed, or may have noticed, I have that horrible gross blue tick on Twitter now, for a very specific purpose. I don't want a blue tick and I don't want to give Elon Musk any money, but if you subscribe to Twitter Blue, you can put longer format videos onto Twitter, and higher quality as well. Only 1080p, nothing like YouTube can do, but better quality videos and longer format. And I have a better reach on Twitter than I do on YouTube by virtue of having more followers and easier sharing when you're there. So my plan at the moment is a kind of selfish world domination plan, is to put more video content on Twitter as well as YouTube and use it as a kind of video platform. I don't like a lot of Twitter discourse. Like I said, a lot of people on there are obnoxious and just irritate me. Not everyone, obviously there's loads of good people on there as well, but Twitter discourse in general and the way people play it frustrates me. I don't like it when people quote tweet people to reply to them. It's not how you reply to someone in a conversation, you clout chasing fuckwits. There's a lot of people that do that though. So I don't like Twitter, but I am going to try and leverage it to broaden my reach with video content. So that is my Twitter plan, if that answers that question for you. And I am going to do, like I said last week, my general plan is to try and do more succinct video content in general. Hopefully entertaining stuff, and share it around for people to have a laugh at. Kayasanti, I do want to play Demio. I've never played it, I don't know how to. But I would absolutely like to play Demio. Ideally, if you know a couple of other people that would want to get involved, I'd absolutely be well up for doing that. Very much want to. We have a poll on whether or not to ban Tony. I'm going to say please don't ban Tony. Tony has done far worse than he has done here today, and I have not banned him. So vote to keep Tony. He's part of the fun. The couch would smell bad. I've not got far enough into High on Life to know what happens with the couch, but I suspect it's not good news. How do I get rid of this poll? S.T.A.L.K.E.R, it has been a while. You've been watching After the Fact. Well, thank you for supporting them After the Fact. That is much appreciated, and it is good to see you here. What did Tony do? What didn't Tony do? Tony is a walking catastrophe, but we appreciate him for it. What kind of bear is the best? A bear ass. I don't know why I said that. I don't mean that. Please do not expose your asses. I'm not looking for asses right now. You just want to see what people would vote? Okay. Hopefully everybody voted for Tony to keep me and Tony. And everyone else here as well. I am going to go and finish God of War now. I'm not. I'm going to do that tomorrow. I'm going to go and start working on a video next. So I'm going to say again, thank you all the people that signed up. There were some new names around, and obviously familiar names as well. Painful Discourse, I know you're going to get here eventually, so thanks for that as well. I thought this would be shorter than it was. Managed to ramble on for almost 2 hours without even touching the one or two topics that I had lined up. So forgive me for my incompetence, but it will continue. Yes, it will. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to head out now. Again, I haven't figured out how to close off the show yet, so I'm going to talk a little bit. Going to tell everyone there is a go live on Saturday. I may be streaming some Resident Evil tomorrow. There will be other stuff around on this channel, on the Game On Daily channel, everywhere in your faces. You can't avoid it. So Thanks again, and I'll see you soon.